Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Yeah.
Can I make you groove now? Yes, I can. So you can get this groove in the back of a can. I can make it round the world when it holds in your hand. Popcorn World. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. I said popcorn make you smile. Ah. 250 flavors. Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Popcorn World. The Popcorn World.
You're now listening to BLEAV in the ACC with Heisman Trophy winner and Florida State legend, Mr. Charlie Ward, Wave 3 TV, and Fern Creek Hall of Famer Kendrick Haskins, and Mr. Talking Noise himself, and of course Mama Noise's name, Lloyd Spence. And now, it's time for BLEAV in the ACC.
If you are a football fan, this is your Christmas, where you get to open up a shiny new player to add to your team and make your team better, and dare I hope and say a Super Bowl contender, but not really. For 31 teams, that's not true. For one team, that might be very true. But to the rest of us, it's just hoping and wishing on the brand new thing under the tree. So we're gonna talk about it because that's what we do.
Or you're cynical like me and is thinking, I hope our team doesn't mess it up.
Or it could be that. It could be Santa. You've screwed this up many times before in the past. Don't screw it up this time.
Right.
So we'll see. We'll see where we fall tonight. That's Kendrick Haskins right there. This is Lloyd Spence. We're here, BLEAV in the ACC. I got Charlie Ward. I think he's coming. He'll be here when he gets here. He's busy. He's a busy man.
He's a busy man.
Making moves, doing things,
flexing,
humble flexing all over. You know what? Because he flexes so much, but in his own beautiful Charlie Ward way, let's just start this draft Christmas off the right way.
And that was a Charlie Ward humble flex.
My favorite part of that is he'll go back and look at the show and go, why did I get humble flex?
What did I do?
What did I do? The fact that you're asking what did I do is the reason you got humble flex. Because we love you, man. We love you. All right. A lot to talk about. A lot of stuff we want to bring you guys up to speed on as to who to be looking for from the ACC tonight, when we think they might fall or go or whatever. Who are the sneaky ACC players we think will make an impact on their team, maybe year one or two, whatever. And then also, of course, the quarterback controversy. I don't know if it's a controversy, but it's definitely very, very interesting to see where these guys are going to fall.
The annual let's start hyping up a quarterback that we didn't talk about all season.
We need a name for it, though. You know what? We need a name for it. The overhype machine or something. We'll come up with a name for it officially. But before we get to any of that, there was a sneaky, and to steal from Get Up in the Morning, there was a sneaky big move that went down this week that is going to have tremendous effect on college sports. It's maybe unprecedented. maybe the reason why Reggie Bush got his Heisman back. Officially now, a player in college sports, I say sports, not just football, basketball, sports, who has the academic requirements, this is the key, has the academic requirements, can transfer at any time. Let me look directly into the camera and say that again. You can transfer at any time. I was just talking to Kendrick pre-production before we got on, and I said I've looked at about 5 different articles, and the language says until I look at the official document or whatever, the language says transfer at any time. If that is true, Kendrick Haskins, welcome to Will Smith's version of the Wild Wild West. I reference his version because it wasn't successful, but
it was in the box office.
It was. Was it? I thought it was kind of like marginal success. It wasn't his level.
I think it wasn't as successful as his prior movies like Men in Black and all that, but he made a ton of money off that nonsense.
Well, let's be clear. Will Smith makes a ton of money off of all of his nonsense. Even Dagger Man makes money.
Did you know that whole thing with the spider in that movie was because the director of the movie loved spiders, so he would inject spiders into every movie?
I did not know that, but I regret seeing. I remember.
That's why he had that big old thing that he was riding in at the end of the movie. It was shaped like a spider.
I remember the scene. Listen,
that's
I remember. I actually went and saw Wild Wild West because remember back then Will was on the road, so I was like, man, another good Will Smith movie. Let y'all check it out. I remember literally sitting in the theater going, "What the hell is this? Like, what? Where are we at? What?" It made no sense. Let me say something. Not to go off on a tangent. It made no sense whatsoever. It was that might be the most random moment in the history of movies. The Wild Wild West, and you got a mechanical spider that looks like it was built in 2045? Crazy. Unbelievable.
But we digress.
Listen, but that was the day Will Smith went back to his trailer and called his accountant and said, did that check clear? It did? Fine. Does not matter what does not matter what else happens in this movie. That check cleared, we're good. Right. We're good. Because if the check hadn't cleared, he'd probably been upset himself for choosing that one. Because that was I know he was sitting in that thing going, this is not gonna work. Right. So anyway, we digress. A fun fact for you by you, kid. You got like that. Quote Tony Baker, I never knew. Okay. So what do you think about this rule, man? What do you think about this rule?
I hope there's some some regulation to it, because now you're gonna start having players transfer in midweek.
We forgot the most important part. And you can play immediately.
Right. So so does that mean that like Michigan and Ohio State those coaches can try to recruit players off the other team to come play for them and give them all their playbook?
That's why I'm trying to understand the language in the language.
Is that what this is opening it up to? I mean, like you know me, I've been a proponent of the players being able to come and go as much as the coaches do this whole time. But
that's right.
This is extreme. I mean, there needs to be, just like in every other league, because I mean, it's time that we stop acting like this is amateur sports. This is professional sports, and it always has been. And so, in every other league, there is a free agent period. There's free agency. You can't just come and go. You can't be a free agent for the Ravens in the middle of the season and get picked up by the Bengals. It doesn't work that way. And so
it shouldn't work that way.
And so it should not work that way. I mean, like even in like the real, because a lot of times when I try to explain to people how stuff works, I equate it to the real world.
Right.
Even in the real world, you got to give a 2-week notice. you can't just up and go to another job.
You normally can't work for Nike on Monday and then transfer to Adidas on Tuesday. That's not usually
right.
How it works. Let's read it. Let's do a quick read real quick. It says the new transfer rules also retain the structure of transfer windows, which differ by sport. Athletes must notify the current school of their intended transfer during a designated period of time. Okay, so for fall sports, transfer window begins with the championship selection, which is the release of NCAA tournament brackets or bowl game announcements. For winter sports, the transfer window begins 60 days after the championship selections. Okay, so they're keeping the transfer window open. So that's
Right.
good. But again, here's the rule. Undergraduate athletes to transfer and play immediately if they meet the certain academic requirement. This eliminates the year-end residence requirements for student athletes transferring from one 4 year to another. Athletes will be immediately eligible to play no matter how many times they transfer. And that's the other part. No matter how many times they've transferred.
Well, it feels like that's been the case anyway, because nobody's really sitting out. You haven't, because it used to be you had to sit out a year when you transfer, but that
Right.
hadn't been the case anyway.
Right.
And so, I put it back up there because I feel like
You would say that, and I just exited out. Okay, I can let me get it again.
My bad.
That's okay, no problem.
Because I kind of feel like it's not saying that. I think they mean they could transfer anytime and play immediately, but I don't think they mean like midweek and stuff like that.
Right. I don't think they mean midweek now that I'm looking at it a little deeper, but still, man, this is a lot. This is a lot.
It seems like it's kind of how it's been anyway. You know what I mean?
It is right. It's not too far from what we've seen. So, like I said, the window, they're saying the transfer windows is going to stay the same according to what this is saying.
Mm-hmm.
But let me also say this. That's what it sounds like it's saying as of 4:25, 8:13 my time, 9:13 your time. Stay tuned.
Right.
Stay tuned because who knows with this stuff? Because all it takes is for one kid to challenge it. And because the NCAA right now is a spineless organization.
But right now, I mean, if you think about it, the advantage is so towards the kid right now. Why would they challenge it?
Well, I will say now the kid. Well, the only reason I think they would challenge it is if when you look at what you're losing, because you technically still can lose a year of eligibility.
Which I think they should. I'm sorry. I mean,
I agree, 100%.
If it were me, and I think we've talked about. I think you agree with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
You should be able to transfer. If you can transfer once, play immediately. That's fine. Only other way you should be able to transfer again and play immediately is if the coach leaves. If the coach leaves, then it should be fair game. But you just leaving. Like take an example for like
you don't want to compete.
Or you just don't want, or you just want to transfer for whatever reason, like Matt Cross, him. Now this kid has played he started at Florida, he was at U of L for a year, he went somewhere else, he was at UMass, and he's transferring. He's literally transferred every year he's been in college, and he had a COVID year, so he's transferred. He's 6 years. I'm like, this kid, this is not feasible.
How about this for irony? I'm listening to Get Up this morning, and Jaden Daniels played with Ryan Clark.
Ryan Clark's son at Arizona State.
He played in Arizona State with who else was there? Brandon Ayuk. He threw to Brandon Ayuk. I was like, man, Brandon Ayuk hadn't even been in the league like 4 years. So Jaden Daniels has been in the college sports a long time.
Yeah,
so
I mean, look at Bo Nix.
Bo Nix has been here since. I mean,
Bo Nix played with Bo Jackson at Harvard.
He out here putting up Elliot Perry type numbers. So listen, it's again, this is the new norm. We all got to get used to it. I know guys that got the grades like I do, and you know, we're old guys.
I'm hiding
right. Listen, we just got to accept it. This is what it is now, and it's getting more and more intense, and it's not going away. It is not going away. You might as well all get used to it. This is not your granddad's or your great granddad's NCAA.
Right. Because especially the people who are constantly yelling into the wind, screaming into the wind about NIL. Look, you can complain all you want. It ain't going nowhere. So why are you wasting your time? Quit wasting everybody's time posting every day. NIL's ruining college sports. Blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what? You know what ruined college sports? The initial anatomy of college sports, where you was having these kids go out here and play and make all this money for the schools and not get paid anything. That's what ruined college sports to begin with, because it was amateurism from the start.
It was shams. It was listen. I will never forget, and I've told the story before. The feeling I had living in Texas, watching Vince Young do what he was doing at that time. And I don't even know why this happened to me, but I'm sitting in there watching this guy play, and you look up in the stands and you go, "Oh my God, look at all these Vince Young jerseys," and he doesn't get a dime of that.
Right.
That was the moment for me where I said, "Oh my God, it's a shame.
Mm-hmm.
It's all a ruse."
So it hit me when I was in college, because my roommate, and I basically lived with all the football players. Basically, my roommate was on the football team, and I was like the little brother to everybody. And I had a job in college. I worked for the TV station in college. I made a little money and go out. I can go out and get some chicken at Hardee's. They couldn't have jobs.
They couldn't have jobs
because the NCAA, because they were so worried about people cheating.
Yep.
And they couldn't have jobs.
Yeah.
And so, and like, I was fortunate enough. I mean, I didn't have to really worry about stuff, but I knew plenty of people on that team who came from nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
All they had was they got their little financial aid checks, and they got a little.
They got the meal plans
and the meal plans, and so that was it. And so, and then they're out here going to OVC championships, and our coaches at the time was Mark Godfrey was the basketball coach, and Houston Nutt was the football coach, and we was rolling, and like they couldn't get anything above board. Now some of them I know, some of them got a booster who somehow became the athletic director at one point, who was hooking them up. Murray Shady's, but that's when it hit me when I was in college.
Listen, same experiences. I got the same experiences. Some of those guys wouldn't have made it without a meal plan. They would not have survived that experience. Their families didn't have no money. They literally are coming from the hood. So it was, tough spot for them, man.
And they're working full-time jobs, basically playing these games.
Full-time jobs.
And going to school, and they're paying them in books.
I know we got to move on, but I was the RA for the football floor.
Mm-hmm.
So all my football and basketball floor. So all my guys were athletes, whatever. And man, I was listen, full disclosure, I was very, very generous with my leniency, because I was like, as long as I don't see you, I don't care what you do. Don't do nothing stupid. Right. Don't do nothing stupid that I have to bust you. But as long as I don't see you, it never happened. Right. So, but one thing I did see was I would see those guys, like you said, man, they'd go eat. And they'd be coming back with stacks and plates of food because they knew they weren't gonna get another meal, man. And it was kind of sad because, like I said, I'm an RA. I'm making more than all these guys, so it's a rough situation, man. But that is your granddaddy's problem now. That's not yours.
That is not the problem today.
Kids are doing all right now.
Right.
And by the way, I'm thrilled for them. I love it. I think it's amazing. By the way, shout out to the WNBA. I know we do shout outs normally at the end. But shout out to the WNBA draft, who showed us that these kids are doing far better. Those women look amazing. I was like, oh, NIL is real.
Caitlin Clark in her Prada outfit. Yeah.
Oh my God. I was like, these dresses are 1,000 and up. Everything in this draft is 1,000 and up. So
Angel Reese breaking out the Grace Jones. And
shout out to her ode to the 90s. I like that. That was good. That was a good look. Okay. We got a draft tonight, man. It's going to be a good one. We got to start at the most obvious place, man. The top 6 picks. Kendrick, I fully expect a measured chaos. I don't think it's going to be as chaotic as people think that it's going to be. At least not. It needs not broadcast.
I think the chaos starts after the 4th pick.
After the 4th pick. Okay, so you think Arizona's the target?
Yeah. I'm pulling up the draft order right now.
Yeah, we can do that. Listen, this is why we have this beautiful show. We can pull up.
I've got the links that you sent me. All right, I've got those up too. I'm just getting the.
Okay, no problem. I will. Let's see. Let's pull up the order, so we can all see. Should we pull it up from the mock perspective, or let's just pull up the order?
Yeah, so let's pull up the order.
Yeah, we'll just pull up the order. We won't worry about the mock circumstances, as they say. But as we pull it up, first of all, I almost wore my Juicy Smoulier shirt today because everybody been lying. Everybody been lying.
Oh, it's lying season.
We just love this such and such. We just love him so much. He's the best thing since sliced bread. And it's like even my team, we just don't. We could go into the draft with the 3 quarterbacks. I mean, to the season with the 3 quarterbacks we have, and we're just fine. And then 15 reports come out. The Giants are absolutely going after a quarterback. So it's the wild, wild west. Everybody's lying.
And the thing is,
I got to stop. That was my last wild west reference.
The best thing that's happened is that your team no longer has the worst quarterback room in the league.
No, that is very true.
Denver said, "Hold my beer, hold my jack, whatever you drink." Denver told you to hold it.
By the way, we can stay there for just a second because to me, so far, the most bizarre move pre-draft we've seen. Like y'all gave up picks for Zach Wilson, so y'all decided that the other Wilson wasn't as good as this Wilson. This is the Wilson we want.
I think Dallas dodged a bullet by him getting picked before Dallas could get him because Dallas
wanted Zach Wilson too.
No. I'm talking about coach.
Oh, listen. Let me tell you something, man. 2 billers with Dodge. Number 1, not having to play for Sean Payton, and then number 2, not having an ownership group that also sells tires and chicken at the same time. What is Walmart doing? Like Walmart, talk to me.
They don't know what they're doing, and it's the thing you see all the time with new ownership in any sport. Whenever a new owner takes over a team, they want to make a big splash. We want to jump in, and we're making a splash, and they always end up doing something stupid because they don't know what they're doing.
Shout out to Phoenix Suns, by the way.
Just take over the team.
Yeah.
Take over the team. Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns is a prime example.
Working out really well.
Yeah, and you know what? Part of the reason why it's working out for Minnesota is that they never did actually transfer ownership.
Right. They kind of just slowly. They got owners. They don't. They've like just hold on.
Yeah, now that they're making a run, their owner's like, well, hold on. The value of this franchise is about to go way up. We've got
us a minute here, right? Yeah.
Edwards guy.
Give us a minute here. So, what's going to be the most interesting thing is that who is actually going to be the starting quarterbacks going into a season where maybe 8, maybe 9 teams need a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, this is going to be wild. So we know it feels like, barring madness of historical proportions, it feels like Caleb Williams is going number 1.
Right.
It feels that way. Now, listen, a lot of us thought back in the Baker Mayfield draft, nobody saw Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield literally went number 1 in the final 3 hours of the draft.
True.
So anything, until it happens, anything can happen. Let's be clear. Okay. But we're going to assume that Caleb Williams is going number 1. You're saying you think the chaos is going to start at 4 with the Arizona Cardinals?
Yeah, because they're the ones that they even though it's weird, they're the ones that are set on their quarterback. They're the first ones that set on their quarterback because I think they're set on Kyler Murray.
Right. We think we think Kyler Murray is their guy, and they're going to stay with Kyler Murray.
Right, and so we think.
Right.
And reason why it may not get weird there, though, if you really pay attention, think about it, is because while they may not need a quarterback, I don't think the Giants don't need to trade up then at that point because the Chargers aren't going to get a quarterback either. The Titans seem like they're set on Will Levis. The Falcons are set at their quarterback. So it may just only thing that could happen. I think I could see Minnesota making a move to jump up there and making a trade with Arizona to move ahead of the Giants because they're because if you look from 4 through 9, 4 through 10, those teams won't need quarterbacks except for the Giants, and then you get down to the Vikings who need a quarterback. So I could see them trying to get up ahead of the Giants, but outside of that, I think it could just go right in order there.
So here's what makes this really interesting to me. I think it's more likely that the Giants move up to 3 to either get Drake May, or if you listen to JJ McCarthy this morning, who seemed extremely confident that he was going to be a New York Giant, go get JJ McCarthy, which, by the way, I'm okay with either one of those simply because of this. I realize that, number one, whatever quarterback you take, you got to love him and you got to trust him there. We can't keep doing what we're doing. We got to get a quarterback that we can develop. And it looks like Brian Daboll is the type of guy that can develop a quarterback. So if both those things are true, take the guy you love and let's live with the results from there. So with that being said, it makes more sense for us to do a deal with New England, because New England is probably going to get the guy that we don't want. Like you just said.
Well, because New England needs a quarterback too, though.
They do.
Where they trade out of, where they drop down, because I would think they're probably going to draft May.
Well, here's what I think, and you might be right. I think New England can still get May at 6, though. I don't think the Raiders want May. They want Daniels, and they know if they're going to make a move at all, it's at number 2. They have to go to number 2, because trust and believe. If Jaden Daniels does not go number 2 to Washington, he will go number 3 to the Patriots.
Yeah,
right.
And Washington's another one of those organizations that you don't know what they're going to do, but they do have new ownership, and Magic seems like he's pretty competent when it comes to this stuff with drafting, and so just incompetent period with how to run a team. I mean, look at the Dodgers, and so even though he's not with the Dodgers anymore, he kind of put that together. So I have a hard time seeing the Patriots moving out of that 3rd position, but I mean, stranger things have happened, so it wouldn't totally surprise me. But I could definitely see the Cardinals moving out of the 4th position.
Well, I think it just depends on, and again, if you believe what you heard pre-draft, which you can't believe any of it at all. But if the Giants like Drake May, which is what a lot of the rhetoric has been, then they're going to make the call to the Patriots and try to get Drake May. And so, especially if the New England Patriots like him, because that's the one that you hear the Patriots like. Now, the Patriots might also be playing coy, and they might be like, we like Drake May, but we really like JJ McCarthy. And so they bring in, they take JJ McCarthy at 3, and then the Giants will just sit back and wait and get their guy. So then it's the Chargers who do they feel comfortable with their receiving core, and they're willing to let Malik Neighbors and Rome and Duze and let those guys go by the wayside. That's the X factor for me. So that 2 through 6 is going to be must see right there, because I just wonder, can everybody get their guy? Because see, theoretically, the Patriots are in the best situation, because they could, if they like Drake and they like JJ, they could get us for whatever they want to get us for, which is a pick swap for sure this year, and then probably some picks next year or whatever. And they got their guy still coming at 6.
Yeah.
So would Minnesota jump up though to get JJ McCarthy at 5?
I think Minnesota's going to make a move. I can see Minnesota either jumping up and taking Arizona or taking the Chargers position, because I said both of those teams are set on their quarterbacks, and so or I can see your Giants trying to move up to 4 to stave off Minnesota, because I think that's where the race comes in for the quarterback position, is because it's between Minnesota and New York, and the Broncos too, but they seem stupid, so they probably won't. and the Raiders need to make a move too. So
here's the scariest thing that I think might happen though. Now nobody's talking about it, but I'm gonna say it on this show. With all the maneuvering that could potentially go down between 1 and 6, do you realize that there is a possibility that Marvin Harrison could drop all the way to 7 or 8, maybe
very
even
possible.
9? Can you imagine Marvin Harrison in that offense with Kirk Cousins and Kyle Pitts and that whole squad down there? And man, that would be. I'd have to pick the Falcons as my NFC South champ at that point.
But the thing, only way that happens is if Arizona or the Chargers trade out of their, or both trade out of their positions.
Right.
I could both of them could add him.
Do you? So now we're in the ACC realm, and we're talking about our guys. We're specifically talking Drake May at this point. You and I watched Drake May. All three of us here on this show watched Drake May all season long.
Mm-hmm.
I listen with all due respect to the young man who I think is supremely talented, could end up being my quarterback. I don't know if he's day one. I don't know if he's day one ready. And so,
I'm not sure about that either.
Right. So, A, do you give up the draft capital that it's probably going to take to get him? And B, because to me, there's only one, maybe two plug and play guys in this draft playing the quarterback position. To me, that's Jaden Daniels and Michael Penix. I don't know if Caleb is plug and play because he's going to be plug and play. You can't take a guy with one overall and not put him right in the spot from the beginning. It's trial by fire at that point. But I don't know if he truly is plug and play. The other two, I think, are. I think Jaden is. I think Jaden's the real deal. I think Michael Penix is the real deal as long as health is, remains at, strong or whatever. What do you think about Drake May as a plug and play first day guy?
I don't think he is. I'm with you on that. But I have a feeling if he goes that's where you have an advantage. I think it would be a good idea for you to draft him because you at least have Daniel Jones for another year.
Right.
They have similar they have similar playing styles.
Yeah.
And so I think that could be good for the Giants. Because like anybody else that moves up, they're going to want them to play today. If it's Minnesota, most likely, I don't know. Minnesota might roll with Sam Darnold for a year, and then, but the Raiders, they need a quarterback now, and so if they
need
move
a quarterback
up
right now,
yeah, and the thing is, the Raiders have pretty much all the rest of the pieces. The Raiders are a quarterback away from really being a threat in the AFC.
Well, not only that, they play in the AFC West. They have to have a quarterback.
They have to have a quarterback.
They can't leave this draft without a day one starter.
Right. And I'm not sure. Like you said, outside of the top two quarterbacks, I'm not sure there is another day one starter. And even maybe Penix, but listen, you the injury concerns with him.
Yeah.
But I do think Penix is a day one starter.
I do. I really do.
So I don't know if teams necessarily need to move up to get him. Because I think they're going to go with May. Even I don't know. They shouldn't go with May, but I think they could.
So let's play out a couple of different scenarios before we move on. If you're Washington, you got other needs, but you don't have a quarterback. You need a quarterback.
Right.
Do you prioritize picks over player, or do you take the surefire day one starter that you can build an entire frame? You may have the next Lamar Jackson. It's very possible that you have the next Lamar Jackson.
I think you have. If you can get Jaden Daniels, I think you get Jaden Daniels. But it is Washington.
But the Raiders are saying, we're going to give you our number one this year, our number one next year, and our number one after that.
But the thing is,
I'm just devil's advocate. Right.
Yeah, I see it, but on the other side of that, okay, the Raiders give them those number ones. The Raiders, if they get Jaden Daniels, they're going to be picking rather low in the draft. So you're going to be getting ones down at the bottom of the draft.
So at 13, though, because curiously, the Commanders had last Thursday Michael Penix, Drake May, J.J. McCarthy, Jaden Daniels, all in their building on the same day. So is that their way of saying if Raiders make us the right offer, we can live with Michael Penix at 13? Because that's probably who they'll be picking.
Could be.
I'd
be fine with Michael Penix.
I don't think Michael Penix is a bad consolation prize.
I'd be fine with Dallas making a move up to get Michael Penix.
I saw what you did there. I see how you. Welcome to how Kendrick feels about contract negotiations right now. It's gonna be a fascinating situation.
Shout out to the Federal Trade Commission for outlawing no compete contracts.
Oh my goodness.
A whole new world.
A whole new world. Okay, so boy, this is gonna be wild. Okay, so Drake May, where he goes may set the entire draft situation today, or where people think he might go might set it. Another player.
Do you think Drake May could end up being this year's Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson, Will Levis, the guy that's in the draft room?
Ooh,
shockingly dropping, because it's going to be one of them. It's going to either be him or McCarthy. I feel like.
Great question.
I think if it is anybody, I think it would be Drake May, because I think the hype around McCarthy, especially coming off of a national championship.
Well, and then McCarthy, apparently his pro day was something really special, and I'm not just saying it because Jim Harbaugh said it, but I'm saying
all the reports you're hearing,
even with like I was surprised to hear Riddick, Louis Riddick say I was thoroughly impressed with JJ McCarthy. So when you hear that many people saying it, there's some merit to it, and which makes me think that it's more likely that the Giants do nothing and they let JJ McCarthy fall right into their laps. That feels like what's going to happen with them. So I think they're not going to. I just feel like
I think you're right on that one.
Yeah, I think Joe is too smart for that. He was in that Bills camp and he saw how, listen, if you love your guy and you think your guy's going, you go get your guy. Now I get that part. But at some point you got to also look at it and say, my guy might just fall down. And there's no reason to think that JJ's not going to fall down unless the Commanders have been lying the whole time and they like JJ McCarthy more than they like Jaden Daniels, which would be mind-blowing.
Right. But like I said, the thing I think you have to worry about most is Arizona or the Chargers trading away their picks.
Now. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I can see you moving up to 4.
Just to make sure that get our guy.
So you make sure, because if everything just goes in order and there's no trades, he would definitely fall to you. But
fall right to it. Yeah.
But I've got a feeling that either Arizona or the Chargers or both are going to move out of that position.
I think the 3 teams that are the most, and then there may be another outlier. And we mentioned Denver's madness for taking Zach Wilson. But maybe they grab those 2 picks so that they could bottle it up and go get one of these guys. That would make sense, because the Zach Wilson thing makes 0 sense. Like, it makes no sense whatsoever. There's no way to start the season with that dude.
And thinking about it, now I'm starting to look at this Patriots situation, because they're in a situation where they need everything.
They need everything. Well, that's why
I can see them trading down to get more picks too.
That's why I said trading back with us makes way more sense, because they could get us for some picks, but also probably still get their quarterback.
Yeah.
So that makes sense to me, but that only makes sense if everybody stays at but you know what? They might be able to make a couple of different scenarios work because I could see Michael Penix going there.
See,
I think Michael Penix going there.
I think Michael Penix is kind of the wild card too, because I mean, really and truly, outside of Caleb and Jaden, I think Michael Penix is the third best.
I think he's the third best quarterback. 100%.
And so I could see him being the one that is the wild card and jumps over everybody.
Because even if Minnesota went up to 4 and got whatever we didn't get at 3, let's say both those scenarios are true, Michael Penix would still be, unless we've been lying, right? Michael Penix would still be there at 4 or 5. So you could come and get either one of them. You can come and get them at either.
And I think Michael Penix, he just feels better in Minnesota with Jefferson.
Oh my God! Let me tell you something. If Michael Penix goes to Minnesota with that offensive line and all those weapons, the NFC North just became the best, maybe the best division in football. For sure, it's the best division.
3 of the 4 teams.
3 of the 4 teams are stacked for the next 10 years.
Yeah,
for the next 10 years.
The Bears might be in trouble.
Look, the Bears may have done all of this for nothing.
The rest of the division is stacked.
It's very possible that the Bears could take Caleb Williams. Michael Penix could end up in Minnesota, and the Bears are still the bottom of their division when this is all said and done.
Right.
Because they're not beating any of those teams. They're not beating any of those teams.
They might be able to clip them at home, but that'll be about it.
Right, and that's every now and then.
In Detroit, Green Bay, and Minnesota to win it.
And again, that's every now and then. That may not even be every year. That might be every now and then. Mm-hmm. So Minnesota is a strong wild card, and they got the draft pieces. They got the draft assets. They could make an interesting play in this draft.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see who they love as well. Okay, a couple other names to be paying attention to. Graham Barton, arguably the best lineman in the ACC, arguably. Wondering where he will fall. What you got any thoughts on Graham, where he might land?
I know where I'd like to see him land.
Listen, that's not out of the realm.
It's not out of the realm at all.
It's not out of the realm.
Actually, they should probably move up to get it. But I don't know if they have the assets to move up.
That's the thing. Yeah, having the assets. Yeah. But he is needed in a Cowboy uniform. That is for sure.
Mm-hmm. The Ravens need him too.
The Ravens need him bad. Because they lost a couple of good pieces there.
They lost a lot.
But he'll be
enough. I don't think enough has been made about how much the Ravens lost in the offseason. They've lost a ton.
They did lose a ton, but you know what? That scheme, man, on the defense, especially on the defensive side of the ball, it seems to be working. So I feel like defensively they're going to be just fine. They signed Matabuke, which is to me was priority 1. You had to re-sign Matabuke. Yeah. So I don't know. It's the offense though. That line is
is shaky right now.
Maybe needed a couple of pieces.
Yes.
But Graham Barton would fit in a lot of places, and depending on his value to others, that might. And he's smart too. That's the other thing. That's a smart dude.
I think he might be able to just fall to Dallas. He might.
He might. This is the guy I love, like with all of my heart and soul. I am a big Jared Verse fan. Right. I think he's gonna have a massive career. Where you see Jared falling, a lot of his pre-drafts stuff have him falling to right around the middle rounds. I've heard
Fox has him as the 18th ranked prospect, and so I'm just looking at the teams out there. I can see the Colts making a play for him.
He'd be a great Colt because he kind of gives you all Dwight Freeney vibes.
Mm-hmm. I can see
he's got a little bit of Dwight Freeney in him.
The Saints could definitely use him.
The Saints, Cam Thomas, What's the plan on him? Are they?
If they can keep, I mean, you mean have the two of them?
That'd be awesome. That'd be massive. Yeah, that'd be massive.
Seattle definitely could use him. I think the Jaguars are straight on their defense. Bengals need help. The Rams need everything
Yeah, the Rams need everything.
on defense, especially now that Aaron Donald retired. I can see them making a play for him.
Field Yates has him going to Cincinnati, and
Yeah.
that would solve their Trey Hendrickson problem.
Yes, that's
Um,
that's exactly that. Without even seeing what he said, that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking when I said the
Yeah.
Bengals.
Yeah, 'cause they got a massive Trey Hendrickson problem.
Yeah. I don't know
They
if I don't know if he gets there though. I don't think he falls down to 18.
I'd be shocked if he got there. You know who might take him just because he's there and just because they can. The damn Eagles. That's what they do. They go out and get a.
Well, the Eagles
They
would have
don't
to trade
need
up.
him. They don't need him.
But the Eagles don't draft to 22, so
Yeah,
they
but
would have to trade up. He's not gonna fall
Field-
that far.
Phil's
Now,
got
if
him.
he did, they would definitely do it.
Yeah,
But they need offensive line help though.
but this is the kind of scenario where they usually win. An X Factor player, a couple of X Factor players. Peyton Wilson is interesting to me because he's a good player, but he's got an injury history. So
Yeah.
I don't think he's a first round guy. It's more likely he's second or third, but he could be a nice steal player. What do you think about
He's one
Peyton
of those
Wilson?
guys. If you get him healthy,
If you can keep him healthy,
yeah, he's a heck of a pick. But I mean, he's been
I wonder
so
if
injury prone.
I wonder if he's more not Leighton Vander Esch. Who's the guy that you guys had that's always getting help?
Leighton, I mean, it's Leighton Vander Esch. Yeah, he reminds
Was it
me
Leighton
the way
Vander
he Vander Esch. Yeah, the way he
Yeah.
plays is very similar. And guess what?
Yeah.
He has the same neck injury as Leighton Vander Esch.
Yeah, he's all in. Listen, he's an all-in player.
Yeah, I actually ran into him at the ACC championship when I was there for the U of L Florida State game. He was just randomly in the hotel lobby at the media hotel.
Peyton Wilson.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's bigger than you would think, especially for a linebacker. Because
Yeah.
when I first glanced at him, I thought he was a quarterback because he's that tall.
Oh wow.
But yeah, I was like, nah, that's Peyton Wilson. But yeah, he's tall, so he means he's rangy.
Yeah.
He'll be a heck of a player if he can stay healthy. I mean,
If he can stay healthy.
he could be a steal in the draft. Really, he really could be a steal if he can get the health issue under control.
I really like the kid. His motor is solid.
He makes plays. He's a playmaker.
He makes plays. He somehow finds his way around the ball all the time.
Mhm.
Another maybe sneaky pick. Jamari Thrash is I'm hearing his name pop up.
He's trending
quite a
up.
bit.
Him and Isaac Garendo are
And Isaac
trending a lot.
Garendo. Isaac's probably gonna go second round for sure, second
Yeah.
or third round. Actually, I saw one mock that excited me because I saw either him or Will Shipley coming to the Giants, which I'm okay with both of those because we need that catch the ball out the backfield kind of back. Having that in the speed of those type of guys would open us up tremendously. And by the way, if we are going to take a quarterback, that's what you need. You need to give this kid, whoever he is, as many quick options as you can find. And that would be an easy way to do it.
And what makes Garendo so appealing is that he is that fast. He was the fastest running back in the combine.
Yes.
And he's big, so he's durable.
Yeah.
And so I mean, he was the surprise of U of L's team last year.
No question about it.
Because Jawar Jordan came in, he was playing like gangbusters, and Isaac kind of came in. They were rotating backs anyway,
Right.
but like he really broke out when Jawar got hurt, and he took over the bulk of the carries. And he's so fast at his size. Well, he's fast, period. And then he looks like the bruiser back.
Yeah,
but he can be the thunder and the lightning on your team.
He can be both. Yeah. And I hate to say this, and I don't mean any offense by saying it, but his excellence last year is probably what is costing Jawar now.
Probably.
because Jawar had a decent season, at least in the first half of the season for sure.
Yeah, he was
Before he
amazing.
started
He was the
getting
best. He's arguably the best running back in the ACC. The first part of the season,
without question, without
between him
question.
and Florida State's guy. Yeah.
Yeah, without question. But having said that, Isaac probably made it look more like it was scheme, and that probably is what caused, because I'm seeing most mocks have Jawar somewhere in like the 4th, 5th round. And
Part
maybe
of it
that's
too.
injury.
It's part of his injury, and
Yeah.
part of his Jawar is tiny.
He's not a
put
big
on.
dude. He's not a
He's
big dude.
Now,
Yeah.
I'll give him credit. When I saw him at their pro day, he has put on some weight and put on some good weight,
Yeah.
but he's very slight. And I think that's what's hurting him more than anything. Because I think even if he had stayed healthy, I think he may have dropped because of his size.
His size. Yeah, he's not a big dude. So couple other names before we get out of this situation here and just talk a little bit of Nate Wiggins at cornerback. Nate's good. I mean, I don't know. I think he's a middle rounder, probably middle rounder.
You think him or Brownlee go first?
Ooh. Oh,
I know
man.
Brownlee I know early on he was projecting second day.
He was projected a lot higher. Probably Brownlee.
He's got size. He's a big corner.
Yeah, probably Brownlee because of the size. Yeah, because of the size. So, listen, it's gonna be a fun night. It's gonna be a fun night of sports, period. Because we got, not only do we have this, but we got like arguably, if the Knicks and the 76ers and the Lakers and the Nuggets can duplicate what they did Tuesday, this night's gonna be amazing. Because my God, those games were good, and I say that in full pain that the Lakers lost that game the way that they did. But
it wasn't LeBron's fault.
Well,
because it never is.
Well,
I mean, game one,
if I'm being honest, to deviate just a little bit.
Game one, they threw my boy D-Lo under the bus.
A little bit, yeah. I don't think it was all his fault, but
game two, this the officiating, even though
it wasn't officiating.
LeBron completely shucked the dude to get open for that three.
I'm just saying. Go back if you get a chance. Believe the ACC listeners, go back and watch the play. There's one shot where you can see it from behind LeBron, which was the shot for me, because I wondered why he took the shot. I knew KCP failed, but I said, if I'm looking at this correctly, he has a direct line to go score the two.
Or get fouled.
An easy two. When you look at it from behind LeBron, it was even clearer than that, because they had and there was a possibility, Kendrick, he could have got the and one, because Murray's got to make a decision at that point, and he's either going to come and help because there's nobody else to help. So it's either LeBron's going to get the easy two, or Murray's going to come over and try to stop him from getting it and probably get fouled and make the shot.
Now you're making me come to the defense of LeBron.
I understand. Listen, you don't have to defend him because I understand the shot.
I know. Yeah, because I was going to say, he's shooting the highest 3-point percentage of his career this season.
And he's wide open.
I
get it.
And so
I'm all about the best
younger LeBron would have gone to the hole. You also got to remember, because they remind us every time he breathes that he's 39.
He is a old 39. Those are old 39 legs.
So when you get to be 39, you're going to take that shot quicker than you are going to drive the lane and take some contact. And so
but the problem
I don't blame him the shot. You just got to make it.
You got to make it. But the problem with the 39 narrative is that you can't use it when it's convenient. Because when he's dominating, I can't believe he's 39. It's insane. He's 39. How's he doing this?
It's so annoying.
You can't have it both ways.
It's so annoying. Every time he ties his shoe, every time he goes online, he's 39. We know how old he is. You don't have to remind us every time he moves.
Here's what I'll say about his 39. I think it was 39 that made him take that shot.
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's thinking to himself, I am
29
39.
LeBron goes to the hole on that.
Yeah, he said, I'm tired. I can make this shot. Let's go. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And again, we
I
talking.
don't blame him for taking the shot.
Yeah, I don't blame him. I don't blame him. I just would have. I think I would have preferred him not do it. But anyway, okay. So that's going down tonight. All the draft is going down tonight. It's going to be a fun-filled night. I do expect a little bit of chaos at the top. I really do. I just feel like you
I
said,
said the fourth pick
Minnesota.
is when it might start, but I think the third pick with the Patriots when the chaos might start because like the Patriots need so much.
They need so much
that I can see them trading for picks and not worrying about the quarterback as much about the quarterback.
This is the first year in a long time when you can say there's so many teams that need to fill their court. You can't listen. Let's be clear. You cannot win in the NFL at all without a quarterback.
Right.
You can't even compete.
Mm-mm.
You can't even compete. So there are about, and I've never seen a year that I can remember where there were so many teams that had a quarterback need. There are about, like I said, about 9. You can make a case for 10 teams that need a quarterback.
Actually, it's probably more than that because those other teams that have quarterbacks that they're behind that they probably shouldn't.
That they probably shouldn't.
So it's going to be interesting. The crazy thing is how many great wide receivers are in this draft.
My God.
It's insane how many playmakers at receiver are in this draft.
Kendrick, to your point, that's one of the reasons why I am praying we don't have to move. Because if we can get our guy, there's a wide receiver out there that we can obtain. Right? Coach Jr.'s in the building, ladies and gentlemen.
He made it in for us. We appreciate you.
How you feeling, Coach?
I'm doing well.
You look good. You look like a man who's been on a mission.
I don't know about all that, but
hold on, look at that jacket, Lloyd.
That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at that jacket.
We can't get those.
Is that a Heisman jacket?
That is a Heisman jacket.
So that humble flex earlier was.
It was yeah. See, he was a preemptive strike.
Yeah, something in our mind was telling us. You know what? Listen, shout out to you, Coach Junior.
And that was a Charlie Ward humble flex.
There was
nothing like the definition of a humble flex because he didn't even say anything. He just took it.
There was nothing humble about that flex.
He took his shirt off. He's like, "Hey,
that is a dope shirt, though."
I forgot I had double Heisman gear on today.
I love it. You're the greatest, man. You're the greatest.
That for 1 second.
Why we got you here, man?
You took that jacket off too fast to not know that he had on another shirt.
I was taking it off.
It's the laugh for me. It's the light chuckle for me. Why we got you here, man? You want to say anything about your boy, Reggie?
Reggie
Bush.
Oh, yeah, I'm happy for the brother and his family. It was a surprise to us all here for Heisman Partner Summit meeting this last couple of days, and it was a surprise because it had been talked about in our last meeting, or came up in our meeting over the Heisman weekend, and it was kind of not hee-haw, but it was talked through, and guys were able to share their feelings about it, and which was good, and then we got here and we were getting ready for our meeting yesterday morning, and like 10 minutes before the actual news broke, they handed us like, "Hey, this is what's happening." And so we were like, "Oh," and so it was well kept. Most times some of these things get leaked, but it was well kept. I think everyone was surprised, but very happy and elated for him and his speech. I'm sure pieces of it have come out and probably have come out. But you could tell he was appreciative. He had probably gone through, like most people, had gone through a lot with it. Even if he didn't, come off that way.
Yeah.
But just the fact to me that he mentioned in his message yesterday was, now his kids get to see the Heisman, like his Heisman
Yeah.
trophy, which was heartwarming because that's for some that's a reality. That's not.
Right.
I mean, we like our kids have seen our Heisman, like they've touched it,
Hmm.
they've been around it. For his kids, they haven't seen it or touched it, and so just for that piece to happen, along with him feeling like he's welcome again, I think was big for him. Of course, not everyone was here, but it was for those that were here, we're happy for him. So I was just grateful that you know they did it, meaning the Heisman Trust. Of course, there was always found out there's some other things behind the scenes that were going on to
Yeah.
make it happen.
Hmm.
Uh, but nonetheless, it was the right thing to do, regardless of
Yeah.
how it all happened. It was the right thing to do because I mean times have changed as we've known
Hmm.
over the years, and what the brother did was not like not like out of the realm of any possibility
Yeah.
of what's going on today. And
Right.
so, it'd been something different if it was some kind of conviction or some craziness. But I mean, the man got family, got money to be able to do what they needs to do, and that's like the common thing today
Yeah.
in our world of athletics, collegiate athletics. So I'm just happy that it happened.
No, I'm listen, when I saw the news, I audibly screamed a yes out loud because it's to me it's long overdue.
Hmm.
And to have held it as long as held to this standard for as long as the Heisman group did to me is kind of insane because not having him be a part of the Heisman group, to me is the equivalent of not having Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. Like, doesn't make sense. Like, I get it, but how long does a man have to pay a penalty for something that that he did? Like, he didn't. And it's like you say, he didn't commit an actual crime. So I mean,
Yeah,
what?
he did. Yeah, I mean, he just got his mom got a house. I think was that the extent of
I think it was right. Right.
it. So, yeah,
And if we're
it
being honest, NCAA and Heisman, not the only person in the Heisman group that's mom got a house.
was
Let's
right.
be very clear. Now,
A lot of that was grandstanding.
yeah, and there was a
And
period where we were doing that. It was a
yeah,
culture of grandstanding and we're gonna make an example out of this guy. Well,
right.
whatever. Like, so I'm glad we're kind of getting past those hypocritical type of
Well,
things.
also the Heisman Trust has changed, um, membership thought process, and so that played a big. I do believe that played a big part in this as well,
What
being more
Charlie,
open.
real quick, because I want to ask you a question about what you just said, because you mentioned a lot of guys prior to the announcement had a chance to express their feelings. Was it an overwhelming sense in the room that Reggie should get his Heisman back from the guys in the room?
Yes, I mean you had your outliers, um, some traditionalists, uh, want to letter the law type mentality.
Right.
Mhm.
But for the most part, it was very, it's time. Like,
Yeah.
you know, what he did, what they did, they were keeping it to the letter of the law. Like, you have to be an NCAA athlete to be able to, win the Heisman. Well, when he won the Heisman, he was. So
Right, right.
I'm
Right.
like, I like when people start taking away wins, I'm like, what does that mean? That means that they didn't win the games. I mean,
Right.
they
Yeah,
actually won the game. So why are we
Right.
taking away wins when they've actually won the game?
right.
And so all that to me is nonsense.
Yeah,
When we say he wasn't an NCAA student athlete when he won the Heisman, and so we're going to take that away. If you want to take it away for other reasons, but to say that he wasn't an he's not an NCAA athlete, you're going to take the Heisman away to keep to the letter of the law.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
mean,
Saying he wouldn't have been eligible. Not that he. It's the same thing because you can imagine, Charlie, the reaction around here in Louisville when when they reinstated. Of course, it's like, well, put the banner back up and all that stuff. I mean, it's the same thing. They won the game. You can't take
correct.
that away.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, why are we taking down banners? I mean, they actually won the game, whatever it is.
There's not Men
That
in
makes
Black.
no
There's no
sense.
neuralizer. You can't
Right.
erase our
No.
memories, and we all forget that we saw the game.
Correct.
So it's crazy, but that I don't know. It's wild. To me, it's the
But the
equivalent
crazy,
of a kid.
but
Go ahead, go ahead.
just to clarify now, the NCAA didn't do this.
Right.
The Heisman Trust made this call, very similar to what the College Football Hall of Fame did.
Right.
So they're not basing everything on NCAA. NCAA is still where they are. I mean, they're
Right.
that's their deal. But what we were talking about in our meeting was why, since the Hall of Fame did it, they broke that ceiling, that
Yeah.
glass ceiling of this stigma of he's not an NCAA. Well, they just like, well, he's a Hall of Famer. Like, let's just make it happen. Of course, there's some other things, but let's just make it happen. And that kind of helped, I think, move this process along a little further. And so hopefully the NCAA, we can't expect them to get it right.
Right. You can't.
Well, it might not matter much longer because they may not be around much longer. Like I feel like the days are quickly coming to an end, at least in this current alliteration of whatever the NCAA is. I just don't think when you lose, and we started the show with this, Charlie, when you lose or when the transfer portal rule changes like it has changed now, where it's anything basically goes, the reason to keep the NCAA around has quickly diminished. Like what? So what is the purpose? There is literally no purpose for this group now.
Well, they still run the basketball deal, which is not bad. I think that's the only thing as far as a governing body. They're starting to lose they've lost a lot of their authority on certain things because the government law has come and said this. And they keep going to judges and they keep running into that wall of you just can't do this. And so they're trying to figure that governing piece out. But I do believe the basketball component and probably some of the other things that they've done would be very helpful. Now, I would say, they could potentially be the governance of like Division II, Division III, to give them some structure and push and still run the basketball piece and then allow the Division I model to kind of cease, because when you start talking about Division II, Division III, they're not in that monetary issues driving force because right now the Division I is all about who can make the most money, who can pay the most, and all of that. But the governments and all that piece, it's kind of tough because of the resources. But Division II, I mean, they like, hey, we just happy to have some structure, somebody looking after us, taking care of us, that whole loving thing. So that may be the next step.
Be careful, business 2 and business 3, what you ask for. 'Cause things are going well for you so far, but
Yeah, they need the structure though, and when like Charlie said, the basketball tournament component, all the championship components of what the NCAA does.
Yeah,
if it goes away, you'll miss the NCAA because that part they do get right.
Right.
Well, Charlie, we got to ask you, man, how do you think this is all going to play out tonight? Where do you think? Well, first of all, let me ask you: do you think Drake May is a day one starter?
It depends.
Plug and play guy.
I mean, depends on where he goes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because if he goes to New England at number 3, like some people are saying, then they're going to put him out there because their team is in a stage where they got a new coach, and they're going to throw him to the wolves in a sense and let him figure it out.
I think he's going to look similar to Mac Jones if they do that.
Well,
not going to be much different.
But then again, I mean, a few of the team for the guys may look that way.
Yeah.
I think CJ Stroud kind of clouded everyone's vision.
He's the outlier.
Big time.
Of what day one starter looks like on a new coach team. And so everyone thinks that their model can be that way. I don't know. I mean, we don't know.
Yeah.
How they're gonna fare out. How they're gonna fare. It's just tough. I mean, it's one of those deals where you just don't know how they're gonna fare if you put them out there day one. It really depends on the structure of that organization and also the team. Like the Texans, if you could have told me after they hired
D'Amico. Oh, did he freeze up on us?
I think he froze.
Oh no, that was a really good statement he was going.
I
saw where he was headed with that. That was about to be really good.
Yeah. But he's right. It's a lot more goes into it than just the quarterback itself.
No, listen. He's 100% correct on that, and it's culture, it's scheme, and dare I say a little bit of luck. Like I mean, things just have to kind of fall in place, and it doesn't hurt that normally the team that's drafting that high also is going to play a losing team schedule, so that helps in the development.
We'll find out. We'll find out more about CJ this year because they're going to play.
Oh, they got a monster schedule this year. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They got a monster schedule this year. We're gonna hold back here. Let's see if Charlie.
Even though I think he'll be just fine. The Texans are about to be a problem for a long time.
Chances are the X factor this year for them being great to me is not even CJ. It's the fit in of Stephon Diggs. Is that gonna work?
That worries me.
I'm gonna be honest with you. If I were them, I would not have done that. I understand why they did it.
Yep.
I think it was the wrong move. I really think it was the wrong move.
Yep. I mean, I hope we're wrong. But we've seen it before. We've seen it before. Like a young team that's gelling, and then they bring in a star vet that kind of throws the chemistry off a little bit. We've seen that before. Hopefully it's not the case. I hope not.
Yeah. By the way, another sneaky big move that happened this week, or actually didn't happen this week. The Steelers announcing they are not picking up the 5th-year option of Justin.
Oh, that was.
What was the purpose?
Then what are we doing?
Like what? Talk to me about this move one more time, man, because I don't understand.
I don't know what Pittsburgh is doing.
That was weird. I was like, why are we not? What? Yeah.
I
So
don't know what they're doing, but I can tell you what they are doing, making me laugh.
it's very funny. I won't lie to you. Very, very funny. Don't understand that move at all. Like that is weird. But they decided not to do it. That was okay. I was like, okay, so does that mean Russell is actually I'm hearing that they're not picking up the option on either one of them. It's like
I hadn't heard. I just heard the
they
field.
haven't
I hadn't
announced
heard
the
of
Russell
Russell.
Wilson one. Yeah,
Mhm.
they haven't really announced the Russell Wilson one, but they announced
Yeah.
the
Yeah, I
Justin
saw
Fields one.
that. Yeah.
What has Justin done in a month or 2
I know they
months?
ain't even. I mean, all they've had is OTAs.
Like y'all know in 2 months that this is not our quarterback. Like this is not our guy. So that's wild to me. But anyway, I digress. I guess that's it, man. Maybe Charlie's having some phone issues and he can't jump back on. Anything else that we got that we missed? Is there anything else you're looking for tonight other than what the Cowboys are going to do?
I'm not even worried about what Dallas is going to do.
You're not worried about it.
No.
Are you worried about Jerry's recent comments?
I'm just
Oh, yeah.
I'm just numb at this point with Dallas and all of their shenanigans.
Who do you think walks out of night one as the clear-cut winner of the draft?
I think whoever makes the right move to move up into those early rounds, up to 3 and 4. Whoever makes the move to get up to 3 or 4.
So you think jumping up, somebody's got to jump up. Minnesota Raiders, somebody's got to jump up and go get their guy like Arizona did last year.
Yeah,
go get your guy. Stop playing around. Not Arizona, I'm sorry, Houston. Like Houston did last year. Go get your guy.
Yeah, I think whoever does that.
So essentially you're saying whoever go gets Jaden Daniels. Is that what you're saying? Or are you saying Drake May?
Well, I don't think Drake May. I think I'm leaning more and more towards Michael Penix is going to be the third quarterback taken. And so
I think if somebody wants to win, Michael Penix needs to be their quarterback. I think
you know what? I take everything back. I take what I said. I take what I said back.
What's that?
I think if the Chargers can get Marvin Harrison or Dunze, or take your pick, Neighbors. If the Chargers get one of those big time receivers, they could win the first round of the draft. The Chargers are interesting to me because I feel like they have everything.
I'm going to say this in the official cosign of what you just said. Unless they are to me, I don't know why the Chargers would move out of that spot. I don't
think they will. I don't think they will.
Crazy. You have a receiver. First of all, you gave up Keenan Allen. Let's start there, which was, you can argue why, productivity, all those things, whatever. So you have two receivers who could be two of the best in the league for the next 10 years in Malik Neighbors and, of course, Marvin Harrison. My preference being Marvin Harrison. You can't not. If you're the Chargers and you're Harbaugh, you can't not take him. I don't understand what could why are you taking draft capital? Take the man you need.
The only reason why I could see them possibly dropping is because the fact is it is 3 of them, and you can drop and still get one of the 3. So I can see that, and you can get 1 pick. That's the only thing that makes sense to me.
How do you feel about Brian Thomas?
He is
the forgotten LSU receiver to Malik Neighbors. He's the stretch the field guy.
Yeah.
To Malik Neighbors' possession and do everything.
He'll be a later round guy.
They're saying a
He-
lot of people are saying top 15. I don't know.
Hey, that's the thing. The receiver is that's why that's more on my point with the Chargers. The receiver is so deep in this draft
No question.
that you can drop down and still get a major receiver, especially when you already have a great quarterback in Herbert. You can drop down and still get a major receiver and get picks where you might even get 2 generational receivers. It's possible
It's
because
possible.
it's
It's
so
very
many.
possible.
It's such a receiver deep draft.
It's very possible. Man, I'm very curious to see how this is all going to play out. But if they get out and Marvin Harrison drops down, now I tell you who could potentially win this thing. Because I'm hearing Joe Alt is maybe the only other lock in his draft to Tennessee, maybe. Which, by the way, he is a amazing lock.
I was looking at
Yeah. So if Joe Alt goes to 7, and the Falcons, who don't really need a receiver, but I don't know how they would not take a receiver at that place. If the Bears somehow come out of this draft with Marvin Harrison and Caleb Williams, bruh.
Right, and we haven't even brought up the tight end from Georgia, Brock Bowers. In the right situation, I think he's.
What do you think is the right situation?
Somewhere that has an established quarterback.
So, everybody's trying to put him with the Jets. I think the Jets, that would be a disaster for them. I honestly think that would be a disaster. Why in the world?
The Jets don't need anything else. Except, the Jets need an offensive line.
The Jets need an offensive line. Right. That's what I'm saying.
Honestly, looking at it, he could. I could see Denver taking, but they
need so much.
They need so much. He could fall to Philly. I could see Philly taking him. Minnesota has 2 picks in the first round. I could see them doing it. Dallas could use him. Green Bay.
I don't think Minnesota needs him. They got Hawkinson.
You can always run 2 tight ends out there. 2 playmaking tight ends.
Pittsburgh could use him.
The Bengals could use him. Especially if they let go of T. Higgins.
Yeah. Why is everybody trying to get out of Cincinnati?
Because Cincinnati's being cheap and don't want to give people long-term deals. This is classic Cincinnati.
This is on brand. You're right. This is on brand.
The Bengals and the Reds do.
This is on brand.
That's why I can't be fans of those 2 teams because they go the cheap route every time.
I can't do it.
They get your hopes up. Like watching the Reds. Ellie De La Cruz is a generational talent, and they'll keep him, but they're not going to supply him with the players around him to make a run.
Is Cincinnati the new LA Clippers or the old LA Clippers?
they are the Clippers. They're the Clippers with a history.
Clippers with a better history. Yeah. All right. Listen, that's all I got for you tonight. I think that's all we got for you this morning. But it's gonna be a fun draft. It's gonna be a fun night of basketball and drafts and just fun, man. It doesn't get much better than this. Do you have any shout outs, Kenny? That's the real question that I have for you. Do you have any shout outs?
Shout out to the Heisman Trust for getting Reggie Bush's Heisman Trophy.
Getting that right, man. Getting that right.
And really, that's about it. It was a shout out to all my brethren, I guess, and sisterin, I guess, that's out here every morning at Churchill Downs. Because while it's a 2-minute race for y'all, it's a 3-week extravaganza for us.
Man, people do not understand the magic.
So we're out at the track every morning. And so shout out to everybody, all of my fellow media members that's out there every morning and covering this, keeping an eye on the transfer portal, and we had coaches coming and going. So it's been a wild
Wow.
3-month stretch right here.
Yeah.
And so shout out to everybody working hard here in Louisville right now.
Do you have it?
And again, shout out to the FTC for getting rid of no compete contracts.
No compete contract. There you go. Do you have a favorite yet?
I do not. I'm kind of leaning towards Sierra Leone.
Okay.
Fierceness looked great in the Florida Derby. He was amazing. Just blew away the field. I think he won by like 13 lengths. Unfortunately, my hang up with him is whenever he wins a race, he does not win the next race. He has not won 2 races in a row in his career. And so while he is the hot horse coming in, he is the betting favorite right now. That part kind of bugs me a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I saw him. He's sleek. He's kind of small for a Derby contender, but he's compact. He is very muscular. He's just not very big. Yeah. Sierra Leone is a freight train. And so Sierra Leone, I think Chad Brown. He hasn't won a Derby yet. He's been right there, and he's the trainer for Sierra Leone, and so I like Sierra Leone a lot.
Shout out to Bob Baffert for still fighting a good fight. Like, they won't let him in, but
at the end of the day, we were joking about it. It's like, you can't sue somebody to get into their club. If they don't want you in their club, they don't have to.
You're not getting in. You're not getting in.
That's what it is. Now, granted, I do think it's silly on Churchill Downs to not let the most popular person in the sport into the
history of sports, possibly in the history of sports racing.
Yeah, I think it's all goofy. It's all silly. But if they don't want you in, there's nothing you can do about it.
Clearly, Bob Baffert is not seeing the original house party. If they don't want you in the house,
right,
you're not getting in.
Right.
No matter how many muscles you have, no matter how much pull you have, no matter how big you are in the sport.
Unless you're Robin Harris.
Follow
the drip.
Right. Unless your boy is in the house. And legally we can't keep you out the house. You're not getting in. So that's where we are. Man. Listen, shout out to sports in general. We've seen some amazing stuff go down this year. Maybe none more amazing than the young lady from Fisk. I forget her name. I'm drawing a blank. But the young lady from Fisk University who won the all-around individual national championship for Fisk University. She killed it. Like, I went back and watched some of the stuff she was doing. I want to say her last name is Ross. I don't know why, but I want to say her last name is Ross. But she just dominated it, and she did it from an HBCU, which is impressive.
Right.
So shout out to her. Want to give her some love. Shout out to all of those who tried to tell me last week and earlier this week on our show, but more so last week. And I'm looking at you, Cam, right now. There's no way in HE double hockey sticks that the Heat could ever beat the Celtics. He told me that right here. Well, not on this show, but on the 5. We do that on Mondays. And he said, there's no way, Lloyd. The Celtics are the most dominant everything. And I said, have you been watching the Heat the last 5 years? This is what they do.
Right.
This is who they are.
All right. They're not good, but they win.
Regular season, they could care less. As long as they make it somewhere between 1 and 10, they're fine.
I don't have any faith in them going forward after this series, but they have Boston's number. I still think Boston's going to win the series, but Miami clearly has Boston's number.
Boston should win the series.
Yes, they should. They should have swept the series, but
having said that, stay tuned. But you know what, though? Boston doesn't have a player problem. They have a scheme problem. They have
I don't even think it's a scheme problem. I think it's a mental problem and a heart problem.
I think that's part of it. I think that's also part of it. But I think it's also scheme. You don't have Steph Curry shooters. You have 2 great guys who can score. You have that.
They've got more shooters though than Golden State has had. I mean, they can play legit play.
You're talking about as a totality,
as a whole,
team,
as
right?
A whole, yeah.
But the problem with what you're saying is that while you have a lot of people who can shoot, you don't have anybody that shoots at the level of consistency that Golden State has had. I just think it's a
last
flawed.
Last night that wasn't the problem. The problem was they wouldn't guard people on the 3-point line. I mean, once Miami had hit, I don't know, 8 or 9 in the first quarter,
Yeah,
maybe you should close out.
close out. Help. Defense help.
Right, because okay, they haven't shot the 3 well most of the season outside of Hero, but once you notice that everybody's starting to hit them,
You gotta guard them.
you gotta guard them. You gotta change up. So there, and then when you talk about scheme, there's a scheme issue right there.
That's where I was headed. It wasn't the offense. I just don't think you can win shooting 1,000 threes and not playing the same measure. People think that Golden State won those championships because they're such a great 3-point team.
They won on defense.
But they played defense.
Right.
They ran guys off the line. They were smart enough to know
in his prime,
if we're hitting threes and you're not, then we can win.
Because in his prime, people forget, in his prime, Klay Thompson was the best 3-and-D guard in the league.
Guy in the league, and it wasn't even close.
Yeah.
Like
and then you had Andre Iguodala, who was arguably the best perimeter defender in the league. He always had a shot blocker down low, Looney. Yeah. And then Draymond just being Draymond on defense. He's a dog on defense. And so, they won on defense.
They won on defense. So
and Steph, and as much as Steph gets flack for his defense because you can post him up, mainly because it's his size.
Right.
Steph's got quick hands. And Steph was built up there in the league leaders and steals for a lot of his career.
I'm just saying that to me is where Boston. I can see them losing this series. As crazy as that sounds.
I definitely can see them losing this series. I'm not going to pick it just because I just don't think.
No, I'm not going to pick it.
If Jimmy Butler doesn't come back, I can't see them sustaining this.
Right.
But
it's not out of the realm of possibility.
But it's not out of the realm just because we've seen it. We just saw it last season.
Yeah. and also I gave him a mention earlier, but I give him an official shout out now. Again, shout out to the Phoenix Suns for trying it. Wasn't gonna work, but you tried it.
And you stuck with Bradley Beal.
Oh, so stuck. He looks, you know what's crazy? Bradley Beal really is a good player. He is just in a horrible situation.
He's a good player, but he's not great anymore. He's not a big 3.
He's not.
No.
And the problem is he doesn't have the buffer now. He doesn't have a buffer anymore. There's nobody that can protect him from himself.
Well, he's aged out of it now. He's up there now. Now, earlier in his career, yes, he was a big 3.
Yeah.
He's what is Bradley? He's in his 30s. I mean, he
was
30,
31, 32, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, because he came out the same year as Draymond, except he was a one and done, but he's only a couple years younger than Draymond.
Phoenix really thought we could just run five guys out there and we'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Durant looks like a 35-year-old Kevin Durant. He looks like it.
New ownership, brand new owners. That's what happened.
Well, what's going to happen? They may get swept.
They might get swept. I really got a feeling they're going to get swept.
They look like they are 2 games away from calling it Cancun.
Yep. So, I mean, and not taking anything away from Minnesota. Minnesota's played great.
No, Minnesota's been awesome, but that actually is the point. Mm-hmm. These young legs don't get old; they stay young.
Right.
and you got to play defense again. Also, shout out to my boy Cam, whom I love dearly, a valued member of the 5. But you're delusional if you think old KD is going to be the reason why they went that. No, I'm sorry. Them young boys are running up and down that court, flying past him. It's Olay. He might as well have on a full red jersey. It's straight Olay out there. They look at Anthony Edwards is licking his chops every time he sees Kevin Durant.
Yep.
So sorry, that's just not how it works.
Right.
So anyway, shout out to those guys. I had to give Cam his love because he been in a group chat. He get quiet now all of a sudden. I ain't heard.
It's just catching strays.
What happens? All right, people. We enjoy y'all tremendous. We enjoy doing this show. We appreciate you guys. Stay tuned, man, because we got a lot of hopefully great things coming up here in the very near future. especially with this guy. This guy's amazing. Y'all don't even understand. This guy's the hardest working man in sports right now. Give it up to my guy Kendrick. All right.
There's
All right,
plenty
we'll
of
get
us
that.
working hard.
What is that?
There's plenty of us working hard right now.
It is. But I mean, I'm biased. I have an obvious and loud bias. So there you go. With that being said, we will see you guys next week. We'll talk about some of what just went down, and we'll talk about other stuff because
we'll have a full draft in the books.
Yeah, we'll talk about the draft. We'll talk about all kinds of fun stuff,
and we'll be right there with Derby.
We'll be right there. We'll be in the midst of Derby.
We'll be Derby Day around here.
Actually, you know what? I said next week, but no, we won't be here next week because Derby is next week. You'll be. I just thought about that. I just realized what I said. I said we'll be right back. No, we won't. We'll be back in 2 weeks. With could we never have a Derby week show? That's not what we do because that's the hardest man working in sports today right now. So yeah. So we'll be back in 2 weeks, and hopefully you guys will enjoy the show when we return. Then we'll talk about everything, Derby and drafts and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
playoffs will be further along, so it'll be fun. It'll be a fun time. All right, my Lakers get it tied tonight.
I think so.
I think so.
I think they win tonight.
I'd like to see them blow them out if possible. Get up 20 and stay up 20. But I'll take whatever. Take whatever I can get.
Got to get a W at this point.
Right.
Because if they don't win tonight, it's over.
All right. Take whatever I can get tonight. But I just can't imagine they're gonna keep losing to this team. No. But if they do, we'll see y'all next time. We'll see y'all in 2 weeks. That's the intro. This is the outro. You've been listening to Believe in the ACC with Charlie Ward, Lloyd Spence, and Kendrick Haskins. Please like, follow, subscribe, and share from the Noisemakers page on Facebook and on YouTube. And you can also listen to us on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, and wherever podcasts